What is franchise tax? This is a topic that if you are a business owner in California, you need to know about. Watch this video as I explain what it is, when it's due, and how you pay it. Well, the name franchise tax sounds like it would relate to franchise. It has nothing to do with franchises. It is simply, in California, an annual fee that California charges business owners to exist or do business within their boundaries. So if you have an entity registered in California, you have to pay annual franchise tax. How much do you have to pay? It depends. LLCs, limited liability companies, have a different calculation on how their franchise tax is paid versus corporations. Both have an $800 minimum per year. California is one of the highest states when it comes to its annual fee for entities. Every state charges some type of fee. California, again, is just wonderful for its business owners and charges so much. In California, for limited liability companies, the minimum is $800. But if your gross sales, not your net income, if your gross sales exceed a certain dollar amount, you have a surplus. And so you're paying the $800 plus the additional fee that they charge you. For S corporations, it's a little bit different. It's $800 or 1.5% of your net income. So LLCs is measured based on gross sales and corporations is based on net income. So it comes out to be it's $53,333. If your net income is below that, you pay $800. If it's over that, you're paying 1.5% of your net income. This is not an income tax though. This is just California's tax or fee to exist in the state and have an entity. When is it due? It is due within so many months of forming your entity, and then it is also due annually. April 15th, tax day, is when your annual franchise tax is due. In the previous couple years, there's been extensions due to different disasters, but just know going forward, April 15th is your day that you want to pay your annual franchise tax. Now, what happens if you owe more than the $800 minimum? If you're working with a tax preparer, they're calculating what that amount is, or we're projecting what we expect that amount to be for the calendar year. April 15th of 2024, you're paying the minimum payment for the 24 calendar year. So you're kind of prepaying it in the year where it's due. So we're now projecting what your actual franchise tax will be for that year. You might get estimated payments. So if you've paid estimated payments on your individual return because you've owed taxes, whether they've been to the IRS or California, it works the same way with your entity. We just put you on quarterly payments for your franchise tax as well. It just splits it up so that you're not having to pay the whole amount all at once. What happens if you don't pay? California comes after you, and they might wait a year to do so. Right now, because of COVID, they're in this like catch-up mode where they're sending out notices for people who didn't pay their franchise tax back in 22, 21, even 2020. And if they realize that you haven't paid it, they're tacking on interest and penalties. So you want to just pay it on time. Now, will they send you a bill in the year that it's due? No, it is on you to remember and pay this by April 15th every year. There's not going to be anyone who sends you any kind of invoice from the state of California to remind you that you pay this. But if you don't pay it, they will catch up with you and tack on some interest and penalties. Now, there's a few exemptions. During COVID, again, they waived the first year's annual franchise tax for LLCs. They still waive it for corporations, but the minimum's waived, not the 1.5%. If you start your entity within the last 15 days of the calendar year, or your tax year, if you will, and you don't do business within those last 15 days, it's waived for you also. Now, how do you pay it? I mentioned the voucher, old school voucher, right? It has all your entity information on it, the calendar year that it relates to, the tax year it relates to, and the amount due. We don't recommend mailing in payments unless you cannot pay online. The establishment in California that collects this tax, you go onto their website at ftb.ca.gov, and you simply made a business payment for your annual tax, your annual LLC tax, your annual corporate tax. I have a separate video on how to do that if you aren't sure which kind of button to select, but it is just due. It's easy to do online. Once you don't even have to log in to do it. You can just go on and enter your entity information and pay it. It takes about 5 minutes. So we do recommend paying those online just so that you also get an email confirmation that it went through. You have that kind of paper trail and it's quick and it's processed. It's always advised to have a tax advisor, a tax strategist who's on your side, giving you this input, providing you with vouchers, and reminding you to pay your franchise tax. They're also probably calculating that franchise tax for you. So just a quick recap, franchise tax is an annual tax that California issues to its business owners, expects you to pay every single year that your entity exists in California. Does not matter if you have no income, no business activity, you still have to pay this annual fee every single year as long as you have an entity that is registered with the state of California. We recommend you pay it online. No one's going to send you an invoice, but they will send you a bill if you forget to pay. If you like this video, ring the bell and subscribe to our channel for other videos like this that can help you in your personal and your business make money doing what you love. We're always looking for ways to gain more freedom and pay less taxes.